I had a sort of cold, flu thing, and I'd been to the doctors and said I felt really ill. And because I'd practiced hypochondria for some years, nobody believed me. Anyway, on about, I think, the third day, I'd sneezed all night, and I woke up and I couldn't see properly. Merv was sort of shouting me to get up because I tried to get out of bed and fell on the floor. And he called the doctor. I don't know why, really, because in those situations, why do people call doctors? He should have called an ambulance, but that's what it's like, isn't it? And anyway, the doctor came, and he'd seen this thing in Australia. A friend of his died of it. And he saw straight away I contracted a virus called Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is named after the two French doctors. It was first discovered in the First World War. So they think there's a connection with mustard gas, but also there's a vague connection with swine flu, which is why I've avoided people with swine flu. And what it does is, like lots of these neurological illnesses, it makes your body's defence mechanisms turn on you. So the things that carry the messages around your body, attached to the nerves, is called a myelin sheath, and that's what goes when you get motor neurone. But it can take a year, 2 years, but with Guillain-Barré, it took a day. So in the morning, I went from being a bit paralysed, and by the end of the day, I was completely and utterly paralysed. I read, years and years ago, I read Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis, and I literally woke up one morning and that was it. I was paralysed by lunchtime. I was quite a serious practising hypochondria before I got found out, and I did go to the doctors and say, this is 20 years ago now, I feel really ill, and he said, yes, go home. And for once, I was really ill. Okay, I'm a big fan of Anthony Gormley. So I applied to go on the 4th plinth in Trafalgar Square. I've never won anything in my life. The only thing I've ever won was a shaving mug. So I was I sort of thought I was going to get a place, but I was horrified when I got one. In fact, I sat in bed and squealed for about half an hour. And then the second thought was, oh my God, I'll have to stop eating till I get on it. It doesn't matter what I do, I've got to weigh 6.5 stone. How can I do that? And then so many people said to me, what are you going to do? And they said, don't do anything about disability, will you? Loads of people said it to me, and I thought, and then somebody said, if you do something about disability, make it funny. And I said to Merv, you can imagine, can't you? You're on the plinth and you say, well, I mean, this is what happened. You know, I'm disabled because I was in a car crash and all 3 of my children were killed. It's a real laugh. And, you know, disabilities, of course, it is funny. But it's not funny in the way people think it is, by taking the piss and emulating somebody with cerebral palsy. It's funny to people who don't know about it, but not funny to people whose sons and daughters and people out there, they think this is the joke. But I've incorporated that into what I've said, because it's given me a platform to say something about euthanasia, which was the subject that we settled on, but also why there's a cross-fertilisation of ideas with euthanasia and disability. They're actually breaking the Disability Discrimination Act, because they won't let my carer do the handling. And nobody in there has got any training with an electric wheelchair. So I'm actually going to go up there and put my life at risk now to a great extent. Because if he can't hold it,